Today, we are going to visualize decimal numbers using models and rename decimal numbers to fraction and vice versa. At the end of the discussion, you are expected to visualize decimal numbers using models like blocks, grids, number lines, and money to show the relationship to fractions. Rename decimal numbers to fractions and fractions whose denominators are factors of 10 and 100 to decimals. Let's define decimal number. Decimal number is a number whose whole number part and the fractional part is separated by a decimal point. Example of a decimal number is this. The digits after the decimal point indicate tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on. Therefore, we can read this number as 465 thousandths or 0.465. In visualizing decimal numbers, we can use blocks, grids, number lines, and money. Let's have this problem as an example. Mother baked a cake for his son's birthday. She sliced the cake into 10 equal parts. She gave one part of cake to her 5 visitors. What decimal form was given to her visitors? Let's visualize decimal number using a block. One block represents one part. As you can see, we have 10 blocks. 10 blocks represent the 10 equal parts of the cake. Now, we are going to mark 5 blocks, which represent the 5 parts of the cake which were given to the 5 visitors. Using a block, we can write this as 5/10. As you can see, our denominator is 10. 10 has only one zero. This means that when we change 5/10 into decimal number, we only have one digit after the decimal point. Therefore, 5/10 when changed to decimal number, the answer is 0.5 or 5/10. Using a grid, count the shaded parts that were given to visitors. Count also the numbers of equal parts a whole was divided. Using a number line. In a number line, count the spaces in between a fraction. An arrow ends at 5/10. Lastly, using a money. We can visualize 5/10 by using 5/10 centavo. Now, let's rename fractions into decimal numbers. How to rename fractions into decimal numbers? Count the zeros in the denominator of a fraction. The zeros will determine how many digits are there after the decimal point. For example, is 35 over 100. Our denominator is 100 and 100 has 2 zeros. Therefore, when we change 35 over 100 into decimal number, the answer will be 0.35 or 35 hundredths. Next is 8 over 100. Again, we have the denominator 100 and 100 has 2 zeros. Therefore, we have 2 digits after the decimal point. When we change 8 over 100 into decimal number, the answer is 0.08 or 8 hundredths. How to rename decimal numbers into fractions? Step 1. Determine what place value does the decimal number ends. Step 2. The number after decimal point will be the numerator. Example is this number. 4 is in the tens place. 5 is in the hundreds place. This decimal number ends with hundreds place. Therefore, when we change it to fraction, the denominator is 100. And then we write 45 as the numerator. Next example is 3 and 2 hundredths. As you can see, this decimal number includes a whole number. Therefore, from left to right, we start with ones, a decimal point, tenths, and hundredths. This decimal number ends with hundredths. Therefore, when we change 3 and 2 hundredths into fraction, the answer is 3 and 2 over 100. Let's try to answer this. Directions: write the letter of the correct answer. Which of the following shows 3 tenths? Which of the following represents 6/10? Which of the following represents 25 hundredths? Which represents the amount of 35 100 centavos below? Rename 15 hundredths in fraction. Remember, to rename fractions into decimal numbers, count the zeros in the denominator of a fraction. The zeros will determine how many digits are there after the decimal point. To rename decimal numbers into fractions, determine what place value does the decimal number ends. The number after decimal point will be the numerator. Thank you for watching!